they're just like ballet or jazz. So in the distinctions, I don't ever really get caught up in the talk or like, you know, what one of the elders used to call an intellectual masturbation session. I don't get caught up in that, you know. Lord Cassius. Okay. No, I don't get caught up in that you know, that stagnation. But you do, like, for me, I gotta listen to what this brother says because he came before me. You know what I'm saying? So some of my influences were trickled down from whatever he was being influenced by, and I feel like, especially in this time of people who are doing hip hop and the street dances, we still live in a time where these people who were pioneering it are still alive and we still have access to them. Yeah. But how many of us are really searching out to like learn and get it? You know, the people who do that, those are the people who are going to carry it on. Like in martial arts, there's a system. Like you studied under so-and-so, you come from this lineage. There's a discipline, right? Because this blew up on television and it was just like, the nature of it was that we didn't go to a school to learn it. It was just like anybody could jump in it, but like, I don't know, I could go on and on. But you understand what I'm saying? The tradition, the tradition is very important. One, I think just everyone, you have to be mindful when you practice a discipline about understanding the roots and the culture it comes from and respecting that. You know, you're gonna always have your renegades, people who don't care. I just wanna learn how to do a 90. I just wanna learn how to do a hollow back. I just wanna, you know, do the dolphin, whatever. But you're gonna always tell. The energy is gonna be different. The energy is gonna be different, and for the people who care about these arts and this culture, you will take the time to learn. You'll take the time to build around the community. So I don't know if that answers the question, but I feel like somewhat. Take it away.
Once again, hard to follow up. So I think that any discussion is good discussion. You know, I know as annoying as it could be, as a lot of times it sounds like a broken record, there is truth in all of that. The more people that speak up, the more stories that's shared, the more that we learn about what we're doing and why we're doing this. Like he said, there's a cultural context to every dance that we do. Like whether it's like hip hop or house or b-boying or anything, it came from a certain time period, and then that's carried on through tradition. So to have a lot of people say, oh, well, this is hip hop, well, that's not hip hop. Well, then let's talk about it. Like, why do you think that's not hip hop? And then we can get to an understanding. Because through misunderstanding, you know, the media or whatever, you know, you got Nickelodeon videos on YouTube, like, you know, like, oh, like tutting was started by Michael Jackson and all that. Who saw that video, right? Saw that video? Like, everyone saw that video. So you got like, you still got misinformation out there that's, you know, that's being spread, and it took b-boys and poppers and everyone to jump on that video into the comments. It's like, you're wrong. Like, where are you getting this information? This is crazy. All of a sudden, it went private and they took that video down. All of a sudden, that information is just gone. I'm talking about comments. Yeah. So any type, you know, even though, you know, we hear a lot of pioneers, and sometimes it's hard to listen to because it feels like they're shoving information down our throats. But at the same time, you have to listen. It's important to take on as much information as you can so you can share it on, so you're not misinforming the public also.
Is it hip hop or isn't it hip hop? First thing you have to know, do not use the word, if you are a hip hop dancer and you don't understand hip hop culture. That's like saying, this is a lady. It's a lady right here. Is that a lady? Is that what a lady is? Is that what the definition of is that what a lady looks like? What is hip hop? Hip hop, because people, we have, like you said, we have a vernacular, we have a vocabulary. There are certain things that are hip hop. Somebody I really respect said footworking wasn't hip hop. Now this is one of the people I used to watch when I was a kid. I'm like, I've seen it. That is hip hop. You know why? Because the very same thing they were doing with footworking, they had vocabulary, they had certain music, they had their certain outfits, they had certain names. Everybody had an individual style. When I was growing up, the exact same thing was happening. We weren't even, when what we call the trendy dances started, or on the East Coast they would call the party dances. The stuff, this is pre mop tops. This is like 83. Now, I used to watch, I didn't know it was him, but I watched Soul Train, I seen Buddha Stretch on there doing the walk. And I was like, that's Buddha Stretch. Then I see him years later, he's flexing, they're doing like some boogaloo moves, they're doing like some house and stuff, and we were like really like what, like is that like a freestyle? Like are you freestyling? Because all these things were kind of you had to know how to read it. When I grew up, we were taking the Cabbage Patch, the Lacoste, the K-Swiss, a dance called the Guess that we made up in West Side. There used to be whole crews. Nobody's never seen this. There's whole crews of kids dressed up, tapered khakis, Vans, sweatshirts, big shirts, Zorro hats, all different styles they would make up. This is like 85, 84, 85. They all had names. There were 20, 30 of them, and we used to go battle against each other. Now this is not battling, this is not b-boying, this is not popping, it's not locking. This is the original hip-hop dance, and they were doing it to freestyle music, they were doing it to electronic music, they were doing it to sounds like that, like Shannon, all these other things, and they would speed it up, just like the footworkers would speed up the music, and they would boom, doom, 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 slide, doom. But I'm talking about 5, 6, 7, 8. A group called the Soul Brothers, they had their group, but they had 7 of them, not 3 or 4 like you see in the videos in the late 80s. There were 7 of them. They come out, doom, 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 and then another group come out, doom, 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 and then girls would come out. So it was groups of kids coming out doing their own dances, choreographing their own moves with the dances they had made up at the time. A lot of people don't get a chance to see that. They go way back to, okay, the foundations of hip hop are popping, locking, breaking, like, but they don't know about from 80, let's say 84 to 88, 89. This is when you get the whole, and after 88 came the freestyle, came the them mixing like house and other stuff. That came after that. Before that, it was just do what you do. We'll make up our dance, you make up your dance. You know what I'm saying? And we'll call it this, and we'll create foundations. A lot of people like to clown the Cabbage Patch, but that's actually like a battle dance. Doom, 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 doom. The Freddy Krueger. How many people know what year Freddy Krueger came out? Anybody ever seen the movie Freddy Krueger, Nightmare on Elm Street?
86? 4? 85.
Because they used to do this. and that was the Freddy Krueger. So we used to battle. They would get in a windows, and they boom, bow, ding. But they were moving like this. So the thing is that we make up our own dances. We have a certain sound we dance to. And the thing is that just like we dance to like funk and all other stuff, just because it's not like in the certain way that you think it is, not hip hop. I've seen hip hop created. I've seen it on the spot created. I've seen little kids in a schoolyard have a little radio, and they say, well, hey, let's make up this dance called the Hack and Jack, and we're gonna do this. And they start actually forming a dance right there. And this was later on when I used to work for after school programs. Like, that is hip hop, what those little kids are doing right there. That is hip hop, what they're doing. So it does have a foundation, it does have a vocabulary, it does change, you know what I'm saying? But the thing is that if you're gonna call it hip hop, you have to understand the history and the foundations of hip hop to call it hip hop. If it's not hip hop, you can call it, down south, expressionary dancing, you can call it this, you can call it that. Just because you're doing it, don't make it hip hop. It's more about the spirit and the intellectual property of what you're doing that makes it hip hop. That's what makes it hip hop. It's the actual creative aspect of creating it and formalizing it and saying this is what it is. And us 3 made it up back in 19 so and so. We didn't know it was gonna get this big. We didn't know people were gonna copy us. We didn't know we were gonna have students. We didn't know, you know what I'm saying? It's like kind of like what Ken Swift said. He said, I didn't think this dance, I'm talking about B1, I didn't think this dance was for everybody. It was for us to learn how to deal with us in our communities and express ourselves. That's what it was for. You know what I'm saying? We expect to be on stage, you know, all that kind of stuff. It was really something, it's an outlet and an expression, just like he said about the Holy Ghost, the spirit within you to break out. We used to call it getting off or going off. And if anybody knows anything about funk, there's a song called Get Off by Foxy. To get off, that means just like jacking, to get off. Let's pump it up, let's get off, you know? Yeah. It's all about, it's in you. I can't let it go. It's calling me. It's calling me. That's what it was when I was a little kid. I had to get up and dance. Nobody could hold me back. And then once I went out there, I was kind of shy, but once I went out there, you couldn't sit me down. And that's the spirit. That's hip hop. I got this dude come at me. I got to come at him. I need to learn how to do this dance so I can protect myself, from himself, from ourselves. You know what I'm saying? That's what it's really about. It's about expression. It's about your intellectual property to create something and make it blossom, but also for people to understand where you come from. It's like what church you go to, what school you go to, like he's saying, what's your foundation? Who's your teacher? I ask everybody that, who's your teacher? Now, me growing up, I didn't have a lot of teachers, but the thing was that I was very open to information. And the thing is that I never disrespect somebody older than me because they had information I didn't have. And they had something that I had to know about the dance that could make me, I never thought about that way. It's like a mathematical equation. Unless you understand the basics of math, you're going to never understand geometry and trigonometry and calculus. You're never going to understand it. You're going to have a little something. I know the numbers. I know I do so-and-so, but you don't understand it. You know it, but you don't understand. Like a little kid, I know what that is within me. I know it's something within me. But me understanding it is a whole different education. And that's when you understand what hip-hop is. You can start to say, I am hip-hop. You got to understand also the social conditions of the age, the time. Without that, without the history of the people that created it and the time, you're not going to understand hip-hop. You're going to come from the suburbs, you're going to come from somewhere, some other place, and you're going to be like, this is hip-hop. I'm like, you don't understand the struggle. You don't understand us actually dancing against gangsters. You don't understand we were gangsters. You don't understand we didn't have no food to eat. I had to go on the street and break to make money. You don't, our struggles is an expression. Expression is coming out of you, whatever you're going through. I don't care if you're going through something at home, you want to dance, that's an expression. And it's shared by all human beings. So the thing is that you do have to understand the history and the culture of what we call hip-hop, or what is called hip-hop. Without that, you're just doing a dance somebody else did, or you heard somebody else say what it was, and you're copying, you're mimicking. You don't understand the spirit. When you get the spirit, I can look and tell you got the spirit. I'll be like, you got the spirit. Yeah, I'll be like, dude, I don't know you, but you got it. And then you want to be like, hey man, come here. Let me share something with you. You gain my respect. I see the spirit. I'm gonna work with you. I'm gonna take you under my wing. Or I want to speak to you. Where'd you learn how to do that? See what I'm saying? It pulls you to itself. You know what I'm saying? It pulls you to itself. So once you understand that, but like I said, there are a lot of things you gotta understand, but you do have to understand the history, the foundations of hip-hop dance from 1973 before 1973. You gotta understand all the dances that influence the dances of the 70s. Then you get into the 80s, then you go into the 90s, then you go into 2000. Now everything now is just basically all the stuff we did mixed together. I'm talking about form. I'm talking about speed control. I'm talking about elusive waves. I'm talking about isolation. I'm talking about roboting. I'm talking about West African. I'm talking about jazz. All these things influence everything we do, even from the way you walk from the bathroom to the living room. It's a human experience. And the people that do it the best are people that have been through something, people that have experienced something inside of them makes them want to dance. That's how we say, okay, I didn't discover it till this time. Okay, you a dancer. But I didn't discover it. I knew it when I was a kid because of the time I knew it. You know? Everybody comes to a place where like, that's me. And when you understand who you are in that expression, then somebody else connects with you and says, that's me too. So that's it.